Well, finally getting around to installing these engine restraints. When I bought my car, it didn't have them installed. I never even knew I needed them until reading through the MG Experience website a while back. And then due to laziness and other factors, I just never got around to installing them. So I finally purchased some from Simon. Thank you. And now I'm going to put them in. I'll show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. So here are the parts we're talking about. Restrictor front mounting, right hand and left hand, AHC 154 and 155. And if you look up at the picture, it does actually show them here on the front side of both the motor mounts. The problem may lie, and some confusion may lie, in the actual shop manual here. I have this green Leyland shop manual that I think most people use, or a lot of people use. And nowhere in here does it show any pictures of those restrictors, and it doesn't list them when it shows or talks about removing the engine. It talks about removing the engine bolts. It doesn't talk anything about in here about removing the restrictors. So I'm not sure why they left it out of this manual or if it's in other manuals, but when people go to do this and then reverse the sequence and then they haven't touched the engine in several months, they might forget about those parts when they're putting it all back together. I'm going to start with the right hand side, or the alternator side, because it's slightly easier to get to. What I've got down here is a 1/2 inch socket for the two front bolts here and down here. Okay, before I'm removing the front two bolts, what I've done here is these are the back two bolts. I've just confirmed that they're tight, so I just put some 1/2 inch wrenches on there and tightened them down, made sure that they weren't going to move at all. So I've removed the bolt most of the way right now, and what you can see here is the bolt here, which is coming out. There is a lock washer there, and on the back there's a welded nut, so that won't spin, which is a good thing. And there's too much stuff in the way, so it's not focusing. Sorry. There we go. And so that nut won't spin, it'll just stay in place, so it makes it easier to remove. Obviously, you don't have to reach back there and try to catch a nut that's going to fall off. And so I'll just take this all the way off and then proceed to the next step. Alright, so here's a shot with both of those front two bolts removed. They're both 1/2 inch, remember? And now I will fit the restrictor. Alright, so I've loosely fit the restrictor. You can see here that I can still kind of move it around. So this is how it goes on. This is the right side, and so this will restrict this plate here, this top plate that's metal, from moving forward if you have a hard braking situation or you hit somebody. And so now I'll just tighten down these bolts. There's no torque spec mentioned in the manual for these two bolts, so I'm just going to tighten them down as much as I can. Alright, so I've gone ahead and tightened both of those bolts down with my 1/2 inch wrench, and that's it. There's the right side installed, and now I'll move on to the left. Alright, here's the left side. You can, as you can see, it's a little more difficult to get to, but you can reach your hand down in here and take off these two bolts. Don't be too concerned. My earth strap is attached to the top bolt. Some of them might be attached to the bottom bolt. I don't think it matters. Okay, as you can see, I've gotten this other one in there. This top bolt, because mine has the earthing strap attached to the top bolt, it was more difficult, obviously, to get that bolt into place. So you might have to take the bracket off and fit the bolt through the restrictor first, and then kind of slide it into place. You'll understand what I'm talking about once you start doing it, because the bolt's just barely long enough that it kind of interferes with the top of the restrictor. So after a little bit of fiddling, I got it to fit in there, so now I'll just tighten it down. Alright, so here's the left one completely installed, and so that's it. That's about, I'd say, a half-hour job to do it. Piece of cake, and now the restraints are installed.